Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Neca, the Bride of Frankenstein, Universal Monsters Ultimate Action Figure. I picked this thing up from a local toy shop called Toy Buzz and Fizz. It's in Plainfield in Indiana. If you're looking for some Neca figures, those guys get them really early. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, more fearful than the monster himself, the Bride of Frankenstein, starring Karloff, Ultimate Bride of Frankenstein. The front, we have the bride, Frankenstein's monster. One side, here's the bride. Other side, here she is in her sort of mummy attire. On the back, here's bride with a bunch of different looks, different display images, a lot of stuff, swappable parts. Bride of Frankenstein. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there's a barcode, in case that helps anybody. This is one of Neca's Ultimate figures, window box packaging. You can hear the Velcro as I open it. On the inside flap, Bride of Frankenstein. And then here's the figure with all of her accessories. So with no further ado, let's open her up. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here she is with all of her accessories laid out. She comes with 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, a total of 3 heads, and then some extra bandages or wraps. This figure has a ton of different display options. I like it a lot. So far, first impressions, it looks and feels very good. So this is the Bride of Frankenstein. She's from the old film from 1935. It's a follow-up to Frankenstein. She was played by Elsa Lanchester. So let's take a look at her. Start with her head here. She's at that signature look with the giant sort of beehive hair. So the white streaks going through it. Face looks good. It's sort of expressionless, very serious. Like she has sort of no soul, no personality. She's brought back to life just like Frankenstein. She's got the yellow, I don't know, sort of dress or lab sheet around her. And on the inside, she's covered in bandages. Looks kind of like the mummy. Now, take that up. You can see what we got going on inside of here. Female body, female version of the mummy is pretty much what it looks like. Single jointed knees, single jointed elbows. The back is stitched in a very certain way. Do not untie that thing. Take her head off, pull the dress off, be careful. But that gives her 2 entirely distinct looks, and that's pretty cool. This is her signature look. This is how I know her. And you know what? They did an excellent job. Sculpt, paint, everything's on point. They had 4 of these at the store, and every single one seemed to have a perfect paint job. And just a closer look at her face and head sculpt. Like I said, very, very, very pleased with both the paint job and the sculpt. They both look great. And here's the figure broken down as far as she can go, with all of her removable parts detached. Now let's check out her accessories, and let's start off with her hands. Here she is with the first pair of hands. These are some completely flat hands. Gonna be able to sort of imitate that zombie walk. And here's her other pair of hands. These are also some flat hands, but the fingers are separated. I guess these are the more normal of the 2 hands for her. She also comes with these extra little bandages that'll wrap around her wrists. Can be pretty cool when she's walking toward you in a zombie-type pose. Bandages dangling. Now let's look at her heads. She has 3 of them. One with a sort of blank expression, one in her signature screaming pose, and then one with the bandages on it, with removable bandages to cover up the eyes. Here she is with her first head. This one has the blank expression. This is probably the one that I'll keep on her most of the time. And here's her second head. This is her signature screaming pose from the film. I guess this is what happens when your bride is terrified of you. And then she has a third head. This one is completely covered in bandages, but her eyes are exposed. She even has an extra piece that'll fit on top to cover up the eyes and look like she's completely bandaged up. Does make her head a little bit bulky though. Looks good from the front. Not so much from the sides. When she has this completely bandaged look, this is when she looks most like a zombie, walking, bandages draping, the dead back to life, reanimated corpse, which is exactly what she is. And she's in her complete bandage look. She definitely looks like the mummy, even though it has nothing to do with the mummy. When I see her like this, I think, is this the Bride of Frankenstein, or the Bride of the Mummy? Here she is, with all 3 versions of Neca's mummy. Then, next to the DST or Diamond Select version, although this is one that came with a sarcophagus and can't move much. And here, next to Michelangelo as the mummy. Okay, let's get back on track with the accessories. Here's her final accessory. This is her big dress. I believe it's made from sort of the lab sheet. Stitch in the back, trying to be very careful with that. Got some arm sleeves here, made of a very soft material. Reminds me of the cloth you'll clean your glasses with. Here's the Bride of Frankenstein, completely bandaged up. And here she is, with her sort of white gown on, giving you two completely distinct different looks. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and her accessories. Now let's check out her height. From bottom to the top of her hair, standing at about 7.4 inches tall, which can translate to just under 19 centimeters. Now for her articulation, starting with her head here. Of course, you're going to rotate from side to side. She'll look up and down about that much. Can tilt her head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out a little bit less than 90 degrees, up, down, around. Single jointed elbow goes in about 90 degrees with rotation. Her wrist can rotate, and it's hinged as well. Torso, she's got a ball joint, rotate forward and back. No waist articulation. Legs, almost complete as splits. Ball joints, they can rotate independently of the ball, but barely at all. Legs go forward about that much, back not at all. Single jointed knees with rotation, and her ankles forward and back. Tilt rock, no traditional rotation. Here's Dr. Frankenstein telling his monster that he's going to make him a companion. And here he is, hard at work, creating Frankenstein's bride. And as usual, that famous scene, "It's alive! It's alive!" Then, here's the doctor explaining to the bride what she is. She just has this blank, lifeless expression. He introduces her to Frankenstein, the monster. And then, of course, we have her signature screaming scene. Now let's check her out next to some other action figures. Starting off with some of their NECA horror figures. Here she is, next to Frankenstein's monster. This is actually him from the first film, and they are making an upcoming one for the second film with a deluxe diorama chair. And I already have a diorama, which is kind of similar and quite superior to what NECA's coming. I'll get that Frankenstein, although he's not going to be very different. NECA's actually released 3 different versions of Frankenstein. Black and white, color, and then glow in the dark. And there's this new one coming from Bride of Frankenstein. Continuing on with Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein themed figures. Here she is, next to the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover with Universal Monsters, April as Bride of Frankenstein. Then, with their Raphael as Frankenstein. And here she is, next to a NECA Herman from the Monsters. That was their Frankenstein equivalent. Then, next to a McFarlane Frankenstein mega figure from their DC comic line. Now let's check her out, next to some other NECA Universal Monsters. Here she is, next to Frankenstein's monster. And like we saw before, they made 3 different variations. The bride herself, she's going to be getting the black and white treatment. And here she is, next to the mummy. The mummy also got the royal treatment, black and white, color, and glow in the dark. Here's the bride, next to the Wolfman. The Wolfman also got the royal treatment, black and white, color, and glow in the dark. Then, they made the Dracula figure. They made Dracula both in color and black and white. And the most recent Universal monster they made is the Invisible Man. The specialty shop told me they're getting the Phantom next week, so I hope that still comes. And I imagine the next one after that is going to be the creature from the Black Lagoon. Here's NECA's entire Universal Monsters collection, at least the color versions of each one. NECA's made accessory sets for a few of the monsters. Here she is, next to the mummy's sarcophagus, and with Frankenstein's lab table. And here, next to Dracula's coffin. Then, with some more modern NECA horror figures. Jason, Freddy, Michael, and Leatherface. Then, with a NECA Jigsaw, Hellraiser, and Ghostface Killer. Here she is, next to a couple of different versions of Pennywise from It. And here, with a couple of Creepshow figures. Then, next to the Crooked Man and the Pale Man. Here's the bride, next to several different smaller horror icons. And here she is, next to a bunch of different figures by NECA from American Werewolf in London. Here she is, next to a NECA King Kong. And here, next to a NECA Alien and Predator. Here she is, next to a couple of NECA Monster figures. And now, next to the entire NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover with Universal Monsters line. Here she is, next to a McFarlane Movie Maniacs Candyman. And here, next to a couple of Palisades Resident Evil Zombie Cops. Now let's check her out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how she fitted in, both scale and style-wise, in case you know which lines you can mix her with. Since she's a NECA figure, They're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect and work way smaller. But first, let's check her out with some of her NECA brothers and sisters. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from NECA Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to even more NECA toys. And now, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures, here's the Bride of Frankenstein, next to a bottle of mayonnaise. And here she is, next to some DST or Devon Select toys. And here, next to some McFarlane toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here she is, next to some Mezco 112 collected figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here she is, next to some Makefix figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here she is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a very nice figure. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. Accessories are pretty cool. I love the fact that she has a couple of different looks, almost like 2 figures in one. Her articulation is good, but it's a little bit limited. If I were to rate this figure, I'm leaning more toward an 8. It's a very solid figure. I think she looks great, and she's going to be a nice fill-in in my Universal Monster collection. In addition to that, I can use the bandaged body for a bunch of different stuff. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.